Now, I hope y'all didn't think that I was just going to leave y'all hanging without singing that good intro, right? All right, here it goes. Ooh, yeah, what's it gonna be? Trying to make a move, let's find out and see. Make a move, better make a move. Y'all, I told y'all I'm a mess. I just had to get that in real quick because you know the season ended. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Bree. Y'all, I'm here, guys. I'm in full effect. And guys, we got a lot to talk about because we're going to talk about this Ready to Love, Make a Move reunion special, okay? That's what I'm here to discuss. So this episode is going to be part 1 of the reunion special. Y'all, we have a lot to talk about, but thank you so much for tuning in to my recap. So y'all, let's get into it. So we start this episode off with the ladies arriving at the reunion, and our host for tonight's reunion is Tanika Ray. And Tanika Ray, she's hosted other reunions as well for, I believe, Ready to Love. So, you know, I like her. She's pretty good as a host. So the ladies are all there, and also Tamika has joined as well, and she's actually sitting next to the host. So what's so funny is our host name is Tanika, and of course the matchmaker is Tamika. So I just thought that was kind of funny. I was like, oh gosh. So when I'm talking, y'all, I'm going to try my best so that I can pronunciate their names so you're not getting confused on which person I'm talking about. So we have Tanika Ray, who's the host with an N. And then we have Tamika with an M, like Mary, who's our matchmaker. So I just want to get that out there in case y'all, when I'm talking, you're kind of not understanding. So anyway, the ladies are there, they arrive, they all look nice, you know, in their outfits, their dresses. And, you know, of course, they're all introduced to the audience, who we all know. So basically, you know, Tanika greets them and they all say that it's great to be back. And Ashley says that, you know, she's missed her girls because, you know, they haven't seen each other in 3 months. So Tanika says to Tamika, the matchmaker, she says, you know, I know it must be really exciting to witness all of your work and, you know, how it played out. And so Tamika says, well, you know, it was a journey to say the least. And, you know, I can't wait to see the growth, you know, what's happened. So Tanika, the host, she says, you know, I know it was stressful having to date every week. She's saying this to the girls. And so they all agreed and like, yeah, it definitely was stressful. So Tanika asked the ladies, you know, what was the best thing about having a matchmaker? So Charisse responds saying that they were able to date so many men at one time and it being okay. And it felt good to be able to date 2 guys a week. So that was interesting. So that's kind of, I guess, how they did it. Because of course, each episode is, you know, broken down. So I guess when we were seeing the girls go out on their dates, they actually were going on 2 dates a week. So, okay. So we kind of know how that worked behind the scenes. So anyway, Tamika, the matchmaker, says, she's like, well, you know, normally men are in the position of what they want. And, you know, she thinks that those ladies were able to put themselves in the driver's seat now, kind of like be how like the guys are. So Tanika, the host, says that it was great watching them, you know, form a sisterhood and while being in the house. And while she's saying that, some ladies are making a face like, girl, what you mean a sisterhood? Because y'all already know what we're talking about. So basically they do a flashback of how the women got close over the season and their friendship. And so basically the ladies, the host, and Tamika, the matchmaker, they're looking at a screen showing, you know, flashbacks about what happened throughout the season of them all forming like a sisterhood. So basically, and we can see it too as the audience, it's just like reliving everything. So basically, after they look back on the screen, Tanika, the host, she asks, what is so different about Ready to Love, like the dating show, as opposed to this one, like dealing with a matchmaker? So Vernisha says that she thinks it was easier to just be themselves and to embrace and help each other through the sisterhood. And then Charisse says, well, for me, it wasn't easy, because I've never really lived with anyone. But I feel like the ladies have definitely made it easy because they're easy to get along with. So as Charisse is saying this, Zadia's just making this face like, what? Because, I mean, girl, me and you got into it, so I don't even know what you're talking about. So anyway, guys. So Tanika says that the sisterhood has had its ups and downs. And so she asks the ladies, what's going on with all that? And Charisse, when you watch that back, what are you thinking to yourself? So Charisse says, well, really, I think it's pathetic and stupid, and I'm just done with it. So, like, Charisse, has an attitude because she just doesn't want to talk about the drama that happened between her and Zadia. So Charisse says, I'd rather not talk about this because it just doesn't matter. So Zadia says, well, I feel like Charisse's behavior was very bullyish, and she pinpointed me out and decided to pick on me the entire time I was in the house. So Charisse says that's a lie, and in my opinion, I don't necessarily agree with Zadia. I don't feel like Charisse was picking on her the entire time. My thing is this: she did call you out because you woke her up, having to come in the house. She had to get up to let you in the house, and you didn't say thank you. So Charisse was annoyed with that. So she called you out on that only because Tamika had asked the question. Then Zadia, you decided to go on camera and bring up the fact that Charisse kissed LJ and it wasn't no friendly kiss. And of course, Charisse is not going to want her business out on camera for the whole world to even know that. So she got mad and cursed you out. And so that was a mess. So, but the whole entire time, I don't believe she was picking on you from what we see as viewers. Now, I don't know how they edited things and what things they left and took out. But based upon the episodes that we've been watching this season, she wasn't picking on you the whole entire time. So I'm just saying, for me, I don't agree with that. But anyway, I say all that to say, yeah. So Zadia says, the problem is that no one can say anything to you, Charisse. And I've tried with you several times. And every time we had some type of disagreement, and instead of you talking to me in a respectful manner, you start screaming, cursing me out, and calling me names. So after she says that, Charisse is like, that's not true. And I'm like, Charisse, yes, it is true, because you were cursing her out, which was definitely unacceptable, and it was just uncalled for. You didn't have to call the girl out of her names and all these other things. You could have, just spoke to her nicely and say, hey, Zadia, can you not say that? Hey, Zadia, this made me feel X, Y, and Z. You were going off on that girl. So, yeah. So Charisse says, the things that you say about me are just not true, saying I'm a bully and I'm constantly, I'm being misunderstood in this house. And when you talk about it in a way that's just not true. So that's her response to Zadia. So Tanika, the host, she says to Zadia, she's like, how did you get mad at her? So Zadia says, she blindsided me with the conversation about house rules. And so Charisse says, I didn't think that I did anything to her by having rules and saying that I didn't want a guy in the house. And I didn't think that was something she would be upset over. So Zadia says, I wasn't upset over that. And as soon as, you said you didn't want any guys in the house, I was like, okay. So Charisse responds and says, you were upset that I said it on the couch. So Zadia says, Charisse, here is the issue. You never told me at the moment that you had an issue with me. So you sat on the couch, and I just want to finish a sentence because at this moment, You know, it was just a lot. So basically, as Zadia is trying to talk, Charisse kind of keeps interrupting her and interjecting, right? She kind of can't get a word out. And I will say at this point, Zadia was calm. She was talking to her nicely. She wasn't being nasty or anything like that. And Charisse kind of was like lashing out. So anyway, Tamika, the matchmaker, Tamika interjects and she says, Charisse, you keep shutting her down and you just need to listen. And I'm like, exactly, because Zadia is trying to talk to you about what the issue was, but you just keep cutting her off. So Charisse says, I don't want to hear it. I don't care. And at this point, Charisse is just kind of being immature and just being disrespectful to even Tamika, because Tamika's being nice. She's like, Charisse, just let her speak. You know, you speak as well, but it's her turn now. And you're just being disrespectful, saying, I don't care, I don't want to hear it. But then you want somebody to hear you. No, we're all adults and it goes both ways. You need to listen. And that was wrong. So anyway, you know, Tamika was just trying to help her and stuff like that. So, yeah. And my thing is, Charisse, you think you're supposed to talk all over everyone and they're supposed to just listen to you only? Like, absolutely not. No.
Absolutely not. Not me. Certainly not I.
So anyway, so Zadia says, you know, I was just saying to her, like, hey, if you would have gave me an opportunity, you know, I would have easily said sorry. And, you know, because we're people that live in the house together. So as Zadia is saying this, of course, Charisse is still interrupting her again. And her and Zadia are going back and forth arguing. So Tamika, the matchmaker, says, you know, I asked, were there any house rules? And you, Zadia, turning to Zadia, that's when you lied. And so Zadia's like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, what are you talking about? So Tamika says, you know, that's the reason why Charisse got upset, because it looks like she was making up something. And when you were not telling me the truth, she's like, now I'm feeling attacked. And I'm like, thank you, Tamika. And this is why I like Tamika, because she's not going to have her favorites. If you're wrong, she's going to tell you you're wrong. If you're right, she'll tell you you're right. And she called Zadia out, and I'm glad she did. She's like, you lied when I said we y'all jokers in the house, and you talking about you were in the house when you really weren't. You were out that night. And so anyway, so Tanika, the host, she says to Zadia, you know, the problem that I'm having is that, why did you lie about being at Cameron's? So Zadia responds saying, here's my thing. I am a whole grown woman that pays all my bills. And if I want to leave a place, so as she's saying that, Tamika interjects, the matchmaker. She's like, well, Zadia, when I asked you, where were you last night? You could have answered like a grown woman. I was like,
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I was like, Tamika, you ain't. I was like, Tamika, you a mess, girl. And I was like, but she's absolutely right. Because my thing is this, Zadia, if you're so grown, why did you feel the need to lie to Tamika about where you were last night? It wasn't even that deep. All you had to been like, girl, I was out. I was having a good time with one of the guys I went on a date with. And yeah, that's where I was. You didn't need to lie about it. So that's why Tamika said that. So anyway, Zadia says, well, my whole thing was really like, why is this even being discussed? Because I should be the one talking about it, not someone trying to tell my business. So Tamika, the matchmaker, she says, Zadia, I said, who didn't sleep here last night? And so Zadia says, well, I sort of kind of slept there. And Tamika says, I asked you one question and I needed one answer and you couldn't give it to me. And she's right. So Tanika, the host, she says, where were you that night, Zadia? So when Tanika asked that question, Zadia says, you know, I was with Cam And I didn't go to his house. We were just out talking. So Tanika says, the question is this, Zadia, when you came out with LJ, you know, that whole thing about Sharice and him kissing, was that a jab, you know, trying to get back at Sharice? So Zadia says, no, I'm a jokester. And some people get my jokes and some people don't. So Sharice says, you knew that there was nothing going on with me and LJ and there was no reason to ask me that. So Zadia says, first of all, when I was having that conversation with you, it was just in gist. So Sharice says, gist my A, you did that on purpose and you were trying to be messy. So Tanika, the host, turns to Sharice and she says, I have to ask, was there ever anything with you and LJ? And so Sharice says, we have a lot of love and respect for one another and he's one of my male friends. So Tanika says, you guys never tried to experiment with the relationship? And Sharice says no. So Tanika just keeps going on about it. And she says, well, why not if you guys get along so well? So Sharice says, well, because he's 35 and he's shorter than I am. And so they all kind of laugh when Sharice says that. So Tanika says, girls, those are small details and you better get that younger man. So Sharice even starts laughing. So Tanika says to Sharice, she says, you know, Zadia says that she saw it, that she saw you and LJ kiss. So Sharice says, I did not kiss LJ in the mouth. It was a friendly kiss.
And this is how
Really?
it felt.
Really?
She's explaining it to you.
Yeah, I'm just saying really.
So Zadia says, it was on the lips, child. So Tamika, the matchmaker, you know, says, well, down here in New Orleans, we kiss everybody. And Sharice is like, well, we kiss everybody too in Miami. And Zadia says, well, I don't be kissing my friends like that, no. All up in the mouth. I'm just paraphrasing that part. So Sharice is like, well, I don't be letting men into the house either. So the host, Tanika, says, you know, can I just say, watching you guys are a lot alike. And I think that's where the energy is coming from because you are seeing your reflection and it's hard. And so Sharice says, I have to say, oh no, I'm sorry. And she says, and Sharice, I have to say, it feels like you have had bad, you know, experiences with girlfriends, like girls as your friend, and you may have been betrayed. And, you know, that's happened to you in the past and the pain is right there at the surface. So Sharice starts tearing up and she says that it does. So Tamika says, the matchmaker, she says, you felt attacked. And Sharice says, I did, and I felt ganged up on. So y'all, as soon as Sharice says that she felt ganged up on, Vernisha says, we never ganged up on you, speaking of her and Ashley. So she says, so Sharice replies, you know, well, I felt like that because sitting in the kitchen when Zadia was saying that I'm not like a sister, that made me feel that way. And Vernisha says, we didn't gang up on you. We didn't intervene, you know, meaning herself and Ashley. So Vernisha says, I didn't say nothing to you that I didn't say to Zadia. And overall, I think this whole situation is petty and stupid. So Sharice turns to Ashley and says, you see what you're doing? You're giving her grace. I think she was talking about Zadia, but you don't give it to me. Because Ashley was kind of like telling Sharice to, you know, just calm down, friend, you know, just don't get all hyped. So that's kind of why Sharice turned to Ashley saying that. So Ashley's like, I'm not giving her grace. And so Sharice says, well, I felt very left out a lot of the times, but I'm okay with that. So Ashley, you know, starts getting mad because she's feeling like Sharice is kind of attacking her for no reason. So as she's getting mad, she says, you're not going to sit up here and make up no story and you're being rude for no reason and you need to check yourself. Y'all know how Ashley gets. So, so Ashley says, don't come on here and act like I haven't been your friend. And Vernisha and I have told Zadia when she's wrong, and then we told you when you were wrong. So as Ashley's saying that, you know, she's getting loud, Charisse is like, don't talk to me like that. And Ashley says, I'm going to talk to you however I want to. So Charisse gets up and she's like, I'm done. So she's about to walk off stage. She is just fed up. I guess she's feeling like everybody's getting up on her, which they're not. The thing is that you don't ever want to hear about when you're wrong. You just don't. So Ashley says, you know, bye, you need a breather. So Charisse turns around to Ashley as she's already standing up. And she's like, I don't need a breather and I just need to be me. And she yells that out and she walks off the stage. And scene. So yeah, y'all, that is the end of part 1 of the reunion special. That's the end of the episode. So we didn't even get into the guys yet because the women are kind of going back and forth. And, you know, maybe they needed to get this segment of the show out the way first. And then we'll get into the guys for next week about any updates, things like that. So overall, I will give the reunion special part 1 and I'll give it an 8.5. I thought it was good. Yeah. Do I think I should get a 9? Should I give it a 9? Oh gosh, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give the reunion a 9. I'll give part 1 a 9. It was good. They got into some things. I really like the host. I like Tamika. I like all the ladies. Sometimes they get on my nerves, but with foolishness. But yeah, Zadia and them, they need to just call a truce and just get over it. Charisse needs to calm down and just have an adult conversation. And when you have disagreements, you communicate. You don't yell and curse people out. And Zadia, you need to stop lying about where you were the other night. Anyway, I'm just playing. But anyway, yeah, I'll give this episode a 9. I feel like part 2 is really going to be good because they were showing us scenes for next week's episode. And Cameron up here talking about, oh, I felt relieved after the process ended. And Zadia's like, what do you mean you felt relieved? So I'm like, girl, what do you... Zadia, when he says he felt relieved, he was tired of you. He was glad you went home so that he don't have to be pressured into being with you, period. That's what he meant.
I know you don't, but let me tell you, I got to be like a thief in the night in this house every time I want to get some privacy to do my work.
Then it showed scenes for Tabari and Bernicia, and Tabari's kind of hurt still behind that whole situation. And Bernicia is like, kind of has an attitude with him. So she's like, I don't feel no ways about it.
Wow, son. Wow. That's crazy, yo.
So we'll see that. Then we see a scene, and guess who comes back? Mr. Kirsten. Kirsten comes back, because you know that was Ashley's little date. And he has an attitude, and he walks off stage. So I don't even know what's happening with that. And then we see an upcoming scene with Maurice and Charisse, and I think they're still together. So we'll see what happens with that, y'all, next week. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another one of my recap. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can be informed whenever I upload a new video. And also too, please comment below, you know, tell me what you thought about this reunion special, part 1. Tell me your thoughts. Did you think it was good? What did you think about Zadia and Charisse, that horror deal? And what did you think about the ending? You know, Charisse and Ashley kind of getting into it. So I don't know, y'all. Y'all tell me. And tell me your thoughts of what you think is going to happen next week with these updates. So anyway, thank you so much. And as always, before you go, I'd love to say a prayer over you. And so here it goes. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you and give you favor. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace and protection. This is my prayer over your life. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in the next recap. And yeah, bye.